Hi there, welcome to the Ecofina Financial Channel. My name is Philip, and as usual, I'll be talking something related to finance, investment, and the economy. If that is your interest, please consider subscribing to this channel because that's what we deal with. Today, I will be looking at something that has become more or less like a threat to global economies, and that is stagflation. Inflation is something that is so popular and common that everybody seems to know what that is. But stagflation is less common. In fact, last time stagflation was seriously talked about, or that the world experienced stagflation, was in the 1970s. So what we'll do is we'll build the background from what inflation is and what stagflation is, so that we can understand why the world is afraid that might be close to another level or another time of stagflation. So inflation, as we already know, is the persistent increase in the cost of goods and services. And right now, that's hit many economies all around the world, from US to UK to the Eurozone to Nigeria to Ghana. No country seems to be left out. Of course, it was triggered or aggravated by the Russia-Ukraine conflict, which has made it difficult for supply chain to move as easily as it should. And then there's high energy costs, and then there's food shortage leading to an increase in food prices. Of course, these issues were already there in the aftermath of the coronavirus pandemic, but it has now been aggravated by the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And many central banks have already started responding. In the US, the Federal Reserve has already raised the percentage point interest rates. They have raised the interest rate by 0.75 basis points. In the UK, that they have also raised it by 0.25 basis points. Those are recent increases. Earlier in the year, they've already started raising it in order to curb inflation. In Nigeria, even for the first time in 6 years, the basis points have been raised by as much as 150 basis points. The interest rates has been raised by as much as 150 basis points. So that's the reality. Inflation is eating many economies really badly. If we look at specific countries, really, you see that in the US, inflation now is around 8.6%. In the UK, it's around 9%. In Nigeria, it's 17.71%. So inflation is eating many economies. So what is stagflation? So stagflation is a concept that was coined in the 1970s, and it means a situation where an economy is experiencing high inflation, slow economic growth, and high unemployment all at the same time. Now, if we try to break down the figures in terms of countries, we see that the US might not be far away from stagflation as a threat. And the reason is because the inflation rate in the US is 8.6% at the moment, which is high because the target rate in the US is 2%. And then the economic growth, in fact, contracted in the first quarter of 2022 by 1.5%, which means that there was slow economic growth. The only thing holding up stagflation in America right now is that the unemployment rate is still low, and in fact has been sustaining the decline. Is now at around 3.6%. The UK probably is farther away because despite the fact that they have high inflation rate at 9%, they still were able to record an economic growth of 8.7% in the first quarter of 2022. And then they have low unemployment rate at 3.7%. But when you look at all these variables, if you look at Nigeria, you might want to believe that Nigeria is already experiencing what is called stagflation. And I'll give you the figures very quickly. Nigeria's inflation rate for May 2022 was 17.71%. In For the economic growth, Nigeria's economic growth slowed down to 3.11% in the first quarter of 2022. That's from 3.98% in the last quarter of 2021. And in fact, in the third quarter of 2021, it was even higher, which means that for two consecutive quarters, there has been slower economic growth. And then the unemployment rate in Nigeria, as you well know, is very high. In fact, the last statistic released by the National Bureau of Statistics shows that unemployment rate is as high as 33.3%. So, given the fact that Nigeria has high inflation rate, slow economic growth, and high unemployment rate, Nigeria is already displaying an economy with stagflation. Now, the only reason why, probably all the other economists think that stagflation is still far away is because most of the advanced economies are yet to slip into it. But in Nigeria, it seems to be the reality already. So, yes, the Fed is tightening the economy, and many central banks are also doing the same to try and see that they can manage inflation. But with that also comes the threat of a recession, because when they curb inflation and put inflation in check, it reduces economic activity to a large extent and can trigger a recession, can plunge any economy into a recession. So that situation has to be very well managed so that it doesn't turn the economy into what they do not even expect. It's good to tighten. In fact, that is what is expected by raising interest rates. But are they able to manage it in a way that it will not trigger recession? That's the big question. And in fact, we would like to know what you think, especially wherever you're watching from. Let us know what you think, where you think your country is, and how you think central banks around the world can really avoid recession while curbing inflation and not throwing the economy into what is called stagflation. So that's it today. If there's any question, let us know, and we'll be back with you next time. See you then.